Club 12 podcast with me, Dave, and Jamie. How are you, Jamie?
I'm good.
Good stuff. You had a good week?
I've had a great week.
Good stuff. This week's show, we're now sponsored by King Kong Tattoo Company, which is down at Albert Square in Dundee for all your tattoo and piercing needs.
Aye. And if you want to get a Craig Whiting tattoo or a Claudio Caniggia tattoo,
that's a great shout.
That is a good shout.
I never actually thought.
Or just your average Dundee badge on your leg, can go on.
There's no just an average Dundee badge.
Everybody's got a Dundee badge on their leg. I've got it.
Anyway, yeah, hook them up. You'll find them on Instagram and Facebook. That's King Kong Tattoo Company Dundee. So we've got a few things to talk about this week. But first of all, we won in the League Cup.
We did.
It
was good. 3-0, clean sheet.
Happy with that?
I don't think Lorraine's going to be happy because she's not getting her clean sheet bonus. But really chuffed. Watching the highlights, I wasn't at the game, but watching the highlights and listening to it on the radio, Willie Miller actually sounded to be quite enthusiastic going to Dens for once. For once. All round good result.
Good stuff. I'm quite happy with that as well. And it was Hamilton as well. I gave him a scuff in it. As we said last week, we hate Hamilton.
We do, and they actually brought a decent wee crowd for Hamilton's size anyway, and it was good to see them going up the road. Sad.
Good. So this week we're on League Cup duty again. The season's not quite started yet, so the boys are off to Stranraer this weekend.
Stranraer.
That's a trip.
It's a trip and a half. What, 4 hours? 4 hours there.
It's the other side of the country. And I thought as well, right, I was going to mention this to you, I thought the League Cup, was it not meant to be regionalised, the groups? So you only play teams in your region. How would we play a team on the West fucking coast?
It used to be like that, you're right.
I don't care if it's the same.
I never even thought about that. Mind you, we always seem to get Peterhead, and they're not really that close to it, but mind you, they're closer than fucking Stranraer, are they?
They're not close to anybody.
No.
They're miles, even it's miles off Aberdeen, and they must hate playing them as well. So anyway, Stranraer, you expect them to win?
I'm expecting them to come on after the Hamilton result. I'm pretty confident we're going to go there and do a job. Queen's Park went there and gave them 4 by half time, I think, or 3 by.
Simon Murray scored a hat-trick.
I'm pretty confident we'll go down there and give them a wee down.
Good. I think if we could beat them, we're on our way to winning the League Cup. I mean, I said it on the first podcast last week.
We want a League Cup.
But no, on a serious note, that's a good start because these games are kind of treated like pre-season friendlies.
Yeah.
A wee bit.
Yeah, and the fact that we're able to, we're just going on to the Hamilton game, we weren't even apparently know we're best. Like, judging by what people have been saying, we were good, but we weren't at 100%. And if we're still able to beat a team in our league that's maybe going to be up there, I don't think they will be, but it's still a decent team in the league, know what we're best, beating them 3-0. Yeah. That's only good.
I think Josh Milligan, did he get man of the match?
He should have if he never. He was absolutely fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Honestly. I'm watching more of him now, but I think his best positions, it's either middle of the park or just behind the striker. But when you watch him in behind the striker, see if you watch the highlights, the amount of balls that he just pokes through and manages to squeeze through, and we didn't score for every one of them, but he's really good in the hole. But in the middle of the park, he could drive as well, can he's going to be brilliant. Really looking forward to seeing him. Good,
cool. We'll see if he gets on. When the season starts is when we'll find it. But again, we've got Queen's Park again in this group, so really we beat them, and then we've beat Hamilton. You kind of expect us to beat them again throughout the course of the season. It's not expected points, but
the Queen's Park, I think they're going to be a dark horse. Somebody's bought them over, I think, last year or the year before, right?
No, I think it's the day with the sale of Hampden. So,
is that what they've got?
So because they've went from being an amateur club to a professional club, because they've always had amateur status, they kept that. For whatever reason, I'm not quite sure. Maybe some random fan could get in touch with me. I'm not quite sure how yet, because we've not really sorted out an email address or a Facebook page or anything, but we'll maybe get to that at some point.
We'll sort that. I think they're going to be a good team. Simon Murray, I wouldn't mind stealing him off them, to be brutally honest with you. I would take him back, but I think
he's on really good money down there.
That's the thing. They're able to pay players.
I don't care what this really good money is, but apparently he's on good money for Queen's Park. And Owen Coyle's now the manager. So he's another. I hate him.
I don't like Owen Coyle. Was it St Johnstone he was with before he went down south?
Yeah.
And he was. That was when we were in the first division. About 10, 12 years ago.
I think, but they were in it as well, and he romped it.
That's what I mean. That's what I remember it. I fucking hate him.
I've tried to tarnish that out of my mind, to be honest with you. But I think we'll be all right. Did Paul McMillan? Say that again. Paul McMillan, did he wear his fucking shed boots the other day?
He did. And to be fair, I think it's partly our fault because we've not got round to starting the GoFundMe page from yet.
Well,
we need to get that sorted out. And there was against was it Hamilton or Blackburn? I can't remember. I think it was the Blackburn game last night. Actually, there was actually a good wee move where the ball got switched. McMullen chests it down. Marshall has a wee look and just plays it in behind. And McMullen's through for the side, and with those tangerine bits, of course he doesn't score and he hits the crossbar. If he had his dark blue bits on, he's going to the back.
Maybe.
So we need to get that sorted out, and he needs to fucking get that sorted out too.
Do you think we need to get some signings and activity sorted out, right? Because it's been a quiet summer, right? And I feel like it should have been a busy summer. We got relegated, we got a new manager in. I kind of took a wee bit of time to get him, but Nelm's kind of explained why it took time, and I was alright with his explanation. That was fine for me. But I just feel like we've not really captured the imagination of the fans for the coming season.
Nah, right, and you know what, I think the reason for that is Gary Boyer wants to look at what he's got. Because if you look at it, right, we were fielding two teams and two separate halves, and some like two completely different teams, and he's going to want to get adjusted to who's good, who's no, where do we need to improve. I think he'd want to do that before he just goes in and signs fucking Tom, Dick and Harry. Come on, I mean.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm not sure Tom, Dick or Harry are available. However,
no.
Do you know who's available, who I'd hate in the team in a heartbeat?
Who's that?
Lee Griffiths.
Some Dundee fans are a bit torn, Lee Griffiths, whether they would have him back or no. Me, I would take him back in a heartbeat. I'd take him back. I
think his phone should be monitored. But we should bring him back. Thing is, right, he's pimped himself out. He's been in the paper and stuff. He's been doing boxing training 6 days a week. He's lost X amount of excess baggage or whatever. Well, no baggage, but poundage. And I think he's a good shout.
I would take Griffiths.
If you could get him fit, he'll score you goals. Doesn't matter at what level it is, he'll score you goals.
I think as well, see if he's at a club where he feels appreciated, and let's be honest, Dundee's probably one of the only clubs in Scotland that he could go to where the fans are going to sing his name.
Yeah.
And I think I would take Griffiths, and for the championship as well. Yeah. He would fucking teams like Morton and Cove and Griffiths would tan. He would. But he was spotted at Dens, was he? With glorious Gary Harkins.
Oh, was he? Tell me.
And the White Cafu as well. So they were spotted there. I think they were in the main stand because obviously we were on about it at the last podcast. Gary Harkins and Gary Irvine are at Farford.
That's right, yeah.
So we're playing them. So I think they were having a wee scope to see what we're like and Hamilton are like. But at the same time, they brought Lee Griffiths with them. Now, whether Lee Griffiths is going to sign for Farfar, I'm not too confident about that. So he was at Dens. I hope we get him in training, and I would take Griffiths.
I think we need some goals in the team. I think Rodden will score goals in the championship. Kubiak, he's got a penalty. He scored a good goal.
He did.
Blackburn.
He did. So Kubiak, when did we sign him? 2.5 years ago, right? And it's taken him 2.5 years to find the back of the net. I think that's the first goal he's actually scored for one.
I think he scored at the League Cup stage last season or the season before.
Right, well that's not good enough. Right. Again, he's had these injuries and all the rest of it, right? But Kubiak actually looks pretty sharp. And 3 weeks ago, I would have said, Kubiak, I'm not too confident he'll play for me next year. But he's looked pretty good. And that goal against Blackburn, he gets one touch, takes another touch, gets it out his feet, and he just fucking leathers it. And it goes in the corner. And I would keep Kubiak. If we could keep him fit, I reckon he would do a job.
It was a good, quick, sharp finish. Another one as well, it was like that, was the third goal against Hamilton on Saturday.
Young
boy Lyle Cameron.
That's the one.
And he just turned and blew it.
That was a good.
And it was quick and sharp, and
the ball.
He took it well.
Because the ball that's played over, I'm not sure. I was actually trying to see if it was Gowser or if it was Mulligan, who it's just like a wee dink, and they just dink it over him. And he just takes one touch, turns and leathers it in the back. And the power he hits the bar. Again, he's only about 10 yards out, but he seems like a decent wee finisher. I don't know what to do. I'd love to see young strikers, especially coming through the youth system, getting a game and scoring goals. But
with the strikers that we've got at the minute, right? So Jakubiak, Rodin, the young boy as well, right? Let's throw him in there as well, right? Would you start any of them ahead of Lee Griffiths?
Nah. I wouldn't. But Griffiths, you're not getting 90 minutes at Lee Griffiths. I don't care how many sit-ups he's done, right? You're not getting 90 minutes out of Lee Griffiths.
What do you know what to start with?
But no, I would start Griffiths ever.
I mean, we've also not mentioned Killian Sheridan yet, but I'm expecting him to get injured before the end of this podcast. And I hope he didn't listen to the last time, because we had a wee bit of sound trouble. If he turns it up too loud and he pops, he might get a burst eardrum, and that'll be him out 6 months. Crutches and that. The falsy bang. But he's another thing though, like, I think he is, when he's actually fit, right, he's a good player, but he's very, very rarely fit.
See, I've not seen enough of him. Like, I can't really remember him when he was at Celtic. I remember him playing for Celtic, but I couldn't tell you what he was like.
I vaguely remember him at St Johnstone as well, and I'm sure they played Celtic one day and he had a really good game. And I think he just seemed to be involved in a few goals and a good bits of play. And okay, maybe, obviously I didn't watch St Johnstone's games because they're fucking shit. But you see the highlights in that here and there, Ken. So
what I would say about Killian Sheridan is he's different to any other striker we've got. And it's obviously, it's not, he's big and all the rest of it, right? But is he that good in the air? I was what I was going to say he was, and then I was backtracking myself in my head there. He's alright. I actually don't see him as a target man, to be honest with you. When the ball goes into him, he could hold it up and all the rest of it, but I'm not convinced.
Apparently he's quite prone to a pint in Greyfriars Bar in Perth. It's a tiny wee pub.
Oh, is he?
In Perth. It's actually a tiny wee. It's not any bigger than this space you're sitting in now, which was I don't know, about 10 foot by 12 foot. It's really not that big.
He seems like the type of character who likes a pint. I think he does. Plus he's injured all the time anyway. What else are you going to do? I can't really blame him for that, to be perfectly honest with you. But I'm not sure he's the way to go.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll see what's happening. We've got a wee bit of time before the season starts, and it kind of has been like that since this new League Cup format come in. There is a wee bit. Obviously, it feels like friendlies during that stage. So, and I think managers are still dabbling in the market. So hopefully we get somebody in before the season starts. We'll get a couple of bodies in.
Well, there's a few trialists that have been playing.
Any of them had shed baits. No happy with him. And he scored a banging OG. Was that him?
Yeah, it was.
The thing is, so I watched
I don't think he had orange baits on. I think it was a young boy.
Was it the young boy? Was it?
But he did score a belter on OG. And on the Dundee website, it said that the ball ricocheted off him and went in the net. Did it? Fuck! It was a great header.
So, wrong end ball. But it's fine. We'll forgive you.
It's his first game. He needs to get used to the standard.
That genuinely was a pre-season friendly, so let that. Do you know who I've been impressed with the couple of games that we've seen? Wee Harry Sharp. Why it goes to my hairdresser.
I've been impressed with Harry Sharp. He did concede against, I think it was Blackburn, and Lawler came on and kept the clean sheet. But even at that, he's still in the pre-season games. I think he's going to be the number one. I do. I still hope we'll bring in another keeper, but the way things are looking, Gary Boyer seems to like him, and I like Harry Sharp.
He seems alright. He's has he been overly tested? He's not been really brutally tested yet. Do you know a game where he's had to save our arse? Right, I mean, that'll come. Hopefully no Stranraer on Saturday, but that'll come at some point. But I think I just want to see him command the box.
Yeah.
And looks like he bosses the place. And I think if the defenders can that as well, you get used to the shouts. He's going to come out, he's not coming out. Do you know what I mean?
Still think he needs to, but that'll come with time. He still needs to hear a wee bit of more belief in himself that he could come out and just go through Aberdeen and claim the back. But that'll come.
Well, I'll leave handwritten instructions with Lynn. So, like I was saying, it's kind of felt like it's been a wee bit quiet on the activity front at Dens, but we kind of understand, right? We'll let Boyer find his feet. However, has he got much of a budget to play with? I mean, Nelms, has he been? Is he putting down cash for him? Do you think?
Well,
I mean, we can't hear that much. We're allowed to spend 140 million on a stadium. So,
140 million, man.
How's he getting? I mean, do you think Nelms is claiming DLA on the side? How the fuck are we getting 140 million? Yeah?
I'm not sure.
Good on you though, Mr. Nelms. I mean, we'll take that. If you could spare a few bob for Gary Boer, that'll be good.
And a few quid for McMullen's Bates as well. That'd be appreciated. See if you look at when John Nelms just came in, right? We've brought in some big, high quality name players. You remember, we go back to Neil McCann. We signed Stephen fucking Colker, right? That was a great signing. We also signed Graham Dorrance, right? Which is another great signing.
Yep. And
obviously, Charlie Adam. There's a couple other big names in there that I've not mentioned as well. But they guys must have been on a decent wage. Okay? He's not going to put down fucking 250 grand and say, here's money to play with, can he? But I think if we've got the right player for the right wage, he'll fork out. I do. But there's no point in signing guys that we're not 100% confident we can.
You're right. I mean, he has spent a lot of money, and he spent a bit of time getting the new stadium ready.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's no started yet. However, while they're planning on building it, is literally about 100 years from my house. So I quite like the site. Do you really want to move away from Dens after 100 years?
If we move away from Dens, I think we said this a couple of years ago, we're going to hate it. Pick the Derry up, take it all the way up to Camperdown, put it down, and then apologise to it for destructing it, right? Look, right, if we want to build a team for the future, for the next generations, right, because let's be honest, their generation, Dundee haven't been the best, right? But we need a better stadium, we do, and with not just the stadium, the extra stuff that he's wanting to include with it as well, the hotels, there's like a music arena and stuff like that, and pubs and bowling, and all that stuff's going to contribute financially in the long run. And I don't want to move away from Dens, because if we do move away that day, like the last game, I'll be in tears. That'd be horrible. But for Dundee as a club to progress, yeah, I'm all for it.
I think, kind of echo what you say, is I'll be heartbroken if we leave Dens. There's so many good memories. Do you know what I've actually got? I've actually got it in my dad's, right? I've got a bench for the Provy Road. Right? So when they were knocking down the Provy Road, I was with my pal, Nazer, and he was like, we'll get benches. I was like, we're going to get benches. Like, I'll get my benches. Right? Again, so goes up to the ends, and next thing, big huge bench. Because I had like wee painted lines for the seats, so I've got like a half of it or a chunk of it set up in Grandad's.
If we do, I would be stealing a seat for the Derry, 100%.
Well, a bench. Oh no, the seat. I like enough their seats now.
Well, I mean, they call it a seat. You wouldn't get it in first class, like, but it's.
They used to just be benches.
No, you can still kind of see that in the Derry.
They're still. It's all lined out. They've just stuck
plastic
half a bucket seat on. They've not put the back bit on. What's your favourite memory for Dens?
It's got to be the night Craig White and relegated United. It's got to be. And I've had loads of good nights at Dens. But that night was... I never left the Derry till, I think, about 45 minutes after the full-time whistle. There was just a wee squad we left at the bottom.
See, I stupidly never got a ticket for the Derry. I ended up getting for the main stand.
Brutal. Nah, you ought to be... At least you were there. I still think we should have... Did we have... Oh no, we did have the whole of the main stand that night, did we?
We did.
I was ready to say we should have done that, but no, we did do that. That's got to be the best night
that was a good night. I spent this 90 minutes sitting next to this random ginger specky guy, and we shared this Craig Whiting moment. The guy, I couldn't tell you where the guy was. I'll never see him again. Like, so I can't want to see that game. That angle was just. See if there's any United fans listening to this. I hope you were at that game. I tell you a game that I remember. Any of the games that I remember most and vividly was the 3-0 game where Juan Sara scored a hat trick.
I thought you were right. I only remember having that on video. I thought you were right to say Albert Kidd.
I do remember that.
You were at the Albert Kidd.
So I actually went to that match with your granny, right?
Did you?
Right, because your granddad was doing, he went down to London with his pal, and he actually told me this. So anyway, me and granny went to the game and Hart scored, and she got a bit scared, I think, and she wanted to leave, right?
Was it 2-0?
It was 2-0, but she wanted to leave at 1.
Oh, right.
Again, so we'd kind of started marking our way out when the second day went in, and then a pure mass of Hearts fans just come on the pitch, and then it's weird because we were all swapping scarves with Dundee fans and stuff like outside after it. And anyway, but your granddad was telling me this, but he was in this pub in Stoke Newington, and there was loads of Celtic fans there, and they were at highest guys, and they were out celebrating, and he was like, "Fuck, are you lot celebrating for it?" He's like, "Oh, we won the league today." I was like, "No, you couldn't have won the league. You went Dundee bit Hearts 2-0, and we won February." And it said, "Man, Grandad was pure heartbroken." Because obviously he fucking hates Celtic. So he couldn't believe it. So that was, I do remember that. That was a good memory. Some of the games for the 80s, like obviously that's when I was a wee laddie. That's when you tack it, and I were just amazing. One that I remember, the biggest crowd I've ever seen at Dens. Dundee played Liverpool in a friendly. I think it was George McGeeche's testimonial, and I think there must have been something like 25,000 in Dens that night.
Was that in the 80s?
It was the 80s, maybe about 86. Something like that. Ray Houghton made his debut for Liverpool that night.
That must have been a good Liverpool team back then.
That was a good Liverpool
team. Dalglish.
I didn't think Souness was there. I think that he was maybe in the transition of going to Ibrox at that time.
But loads of good memories for Dens, and I would be heartbroken.
It would be a shame, right? But if they do, I mean, probably what's going to happen is they're going to knock it down or flatten it, and they'll build flats or a wee row houses, but they really need to name it after some good players.
The Lorraine Noble Avenue.
Well, there you go. Because I mean, St Mirren done that.
Here, see if
Love Street.
Did they? See if there was a Claudio Caniggia terrace. I'm staying there. Okay. 33 Craig Whiting Street. Right? You're staying there all day long. All day long. So I think that's what should do. Should maybe start a poll with the Dundee fans when it comes out to it, just to see what players they'd want, because I'm sure there'd be some interesting names in there. Yeah, therefore.
I'd probably throw in. You'd need to throw in Albert Kidd, right? Even though, right. So this is another thing with Albert Kidd, right? See, apart from those games, he done fuck all for Dundee, right? I didn't even care he played for us until he was named on the bench that day. So what the fuck's Kidd? Who's he? and he looks like my Uncle David, or he did at the time, because he had big curly hair and a big tash. Which is, but that was a lot of men in the 80s. Like
he'd definitely get a street named after him. Benetti Way? That sounds pretty good.
You could do that. I suppose you could do that. I mean, Bobby Cox has got a stand. He doesn't need a street.
Nah, he's solid.
He's alright with that. So anyway, we'll move on to that, right? Because I'm currently thinking of these streets that I'd like to find, right? And so we'll move on. Well, anyway, actually, they were talking about the name of the new stadium, right? Folk said New County, right? Well, come on, seriously, fucking New County. Come on,
that's a minter.
That's a pure minter. Fuck, right?
If you're going to, what they're probably going to do, right, is they're going to name it after some sponsor, right? Because Nellens is good business-wise. He kens what he's doing with that, and he can sort of make money out of situations like that, right?
Maybe King Kong Tattoo Company could sponsor the stadium as well. Just throw that out there. I mean, they're good lads.
I'd like to see it
and lassies as well, obviously.
Being called New Dens Park, but they never ever do that. That's the only name I think suitable. Camperdown Park. There's already a Camperdown Park, so kind of have that.
Do you not think that's boring though?
Well, yeah. Well, but I mean, what else is there? Like, it's better than the fucking Kilmac.
Well, I hope it's no like, because doing it Donington at the racetrack, that's now called the Simply Sausages Donington Arena. Imagine that, eh? Come up to the Cumberland Sausage Dens Park Stadium. Like, fuck off.
Nah, well, New Dens Park. I'm trying to think what other ends, but that's the only one that I think's suitable. But as you say, that is a wee bit boring. But
it's cheesy. Anyway. We'll find out. Right. So, so I was going to mention Farford as well. Yeah. Right. So we've got. You mentioned this last week, but Gary Harkins. You'll tack him back in a minute, right? But they are coming back. Gary Harkins and Gary Irvine. What do you care about Farford?
Good Bridie.
I meant the team.
Alright.
I didn't think they worked
not much.
So.
Not much. Nah, they've got. I only care really their coaching staff. Have they not got a couple of ex-Dundee players in their team as well? Maybe.
I'm not sure.
I've actually not done my research on Farford, to be brutally honest with you.
No, me either. I know that any of their coaches is currently on holiday just now because he's a guy that I work with.
Ah, cool.
I think he's a goalkeeping coach. So I was saying to him about Gary Harkins. I was like, I take Gary Harkins back in a minute, and he says to me, he says, Kenson, he says, he was playing last season, right, and says he just gets involved in bits of play that make a difference, and folk are always going to say he's lazy here and there, right? Because look, he was at Dens a weekend that sometimes he doesn't do much for 80 minutes.
Yeah.
See the 10 minutes that you do get it.
I know, he's
it's
brilliant.
worth it.
He was brilliant. I remember I used to say this about Gary Harkins. You could tell in the first 10-15 minutes whether he was going to hit an absolute stormer or not. Because, I don't know, sometimes, see if he didn't do anything in those first 15 to 20 minutes, he kind of had a bit of a slow game, I thought. But he's always got that wee bit of magic about him. That's how you keep him on the park. But see if he had a good 15 minutes, he was man of the match. Because he'd just keep going.
Definitely.
We're going to speak about Gary Harkins every week, are we?
I think so. We'll maybe see if we could get him on. I'll maybe ask my buddy for work.
I sent him a message. I messaged him the podcast. He never got back to us. He never got back to us.
Nah, he's too busy trying to find players, I suspect.
Eating Bridies.
Well, nah, I don't care about that. Right, it's coming up to the start of the season, right? You had a look at the teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Should we be winning that league? Because I've thought about it, right? And even if we put a poor team, in my head I still think we're better than all that shite.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. That's the way I think in my head. However, it doesn't work like that, because they're probably looking at us and thinking, Dundee are fucking shite. They just got relegated. So, what's going to cause the bother?
So the first team I think that are going to cause the bother is Queen's Park. I really do. I think for some reason I think that they're going to be up there next year, and they've never been up there ever. And I don't know, just with the players that they've got and some of the cash that's getting pumped into them, I think they're going to be decent. We'll find out. I think it's quite glad we've got them in the League Cup, because that'll give a suss of how good they actually are. And I don't think Gary Boyer's going to field a shite team for that. I think he's going to put out a decent team. I think they'll be alright. Inverness, they're a bit iffy, are they? You can't quite tell if they're going to have a good season or a bad season. I mean, they're usually always there or thereabout, but like sometimes they romp that first division and come back up, and I don't know. I think they might be alright. They've got fucking Billy Dodge as their manager as well.
I fucking hate Billy Dodge.
I hate Billy Dodge.
I'll tell you why I hate him, man, right? And I can't, it's not his fault, because he got sold for us, but he used to drink, so on a Thursday night, him and Alan Denny used to drink in the keyhole. Right? Probably shouldn't have been going out on a Thursday night and getting blurred. But there was talk of him going elsewhere, Ken. Mm-hmm. And I think at one point the talk of him was going to United. And he was like, nah. He's like, nah, I'm not going anywhere. Monday morning, he was at St Johnson. I was like, you fucking wee turncoat bastard. Fucking seriously. You just tell us on Thursday you weren't going anywhere.
Yeah, but he was pissed when he said that. So
I mean, well, for what I've heard after it, it sounds like he didn't really have a choice, because was it Duffy that was the manager at the time? might have been Jim Duffy, but basically at the time Dundee had a policy where they basically had to sell a player every so often, just to kind of keep them afloat. I don't care if the chairman was dipping the pockets or something, but I think our chairman's dipped the pockets back then. It's just what they did. But I'm still bitter about that. Even when he signed for United.
And he's going to want to get in over us as well, because he can't. Dundee fans fucking hate Billy Dodds. Remember when they tried to bring him in, and I think even I sent a letter to the club. The first letter I've written in my life.
Him and Chisholm.
No, him and McIntyre. Remember McIntyre tried to bring him in?
Did he not come and meet Chisholm? Oh no, he did.
He did, but that was before. But he'll want to get in over us. I've never seen us win up in Inverness. I think we have, but I've been up to Inverness.
I'm not sure we have. I didn't think we've won in Inverness for like 10 years. Because I remember hearing the start last in the other seat before and thinking, hey, we've not won up there for years. That's mental.
I think they'll be. Well, we'll wait and see with them. They might be there.
I tell you what, we Billy Dodds, he got fucking fat,
He did.
Fuck him. Partick Thistle. Ian McCall. I think Partick, they're going to be alright. They got a good result. Was it last night in the Cup or the other night in the Cup? Who was it that beat? I can't even remember, but I'm pretty sure it was a good result regardless. I think they'll be there or thereabout. Again, I didn't really care much about Partick's players as such. They came up for the first division, did they not? That's right,
League One, should I say. They should be alright, but you think a team coming off the League One aren't going to do too much. The team that I'm not worried about, but I think will do well, is Arbroath. And I kind of want them to do well. I think most Dundee fans are, well, I don't want them to beat us and be ahead of us, but like last year, if Arbroath got St Johnstone in that playoff, I was going to that. Arbroath end, 100%. I think they'll be decent next year. They've lost the boy Jack Hamilton, the forward Jack on the other end. He went back to Livy, but they've still got the other boy, and I'm trying to think of his name. I can't remember it. He had a good game against St Mirren when they beat St Mirren the other day. And I think Dick Campbell's trying to bring in 2 more strikers as well, so they'll be.
I tell you what, I would have loved to have seen, right, see if Arbroath got promoted, right, if they did, they'd have been on FIFA, right, and it would have been great because you'd just see kind of like Bobby Lynn's stats, pace 67, striking 64, taking the bins out 86, right? No, I just think it would have been cool, right? Because a wee team like Arbroath, or like on a serious note, it would have been cool for a wee team like Arbroath to get onto FIFA. People can imagine some wee guy in Korea. He opens up his pack and here he goes, Bobby Lynn. He's like, fucking tiny. What's this star player? But no, I just think it's. I mean, I'm not picking on Bobby Lynn, right? It's just that he's about the only in that I can.
Does Gavin Swanky still play for them?
I think he's retired. Although I don't think he was at Arbroath. Was he not at Brecon or something?
No, he was at Arbroath for about 10 years.
Oh, was he? Did he frittered around a couple of the clubs? So,
I'm not sure. I think he liked a good pint as well, I'm sure. But no, that would have been good, right? That would have been funny.
No, like I said, just because they're a wee tiny team, and for them to get on FIFA, that would have been pretty epic. So, but no, I look at the league and I do think that we should realistically be confident that we should beat Aberdeen. However, we can how this league goes. It's notoriously been the toughest league to get out of for years. However, now that the playoffs are in,
the playoffs make it a wee bit more easier. I still think even without the playoffs, if you look at other teams, we should be beating them. We can.
I think last time we were in this league, we kind of looked at the playoffs and thought, right, we need to mark the playoffs, right? And we did. We got promoted, right? But this time I'm looking at the league and I'm thinking, we need to win that league. Okay, if we get to the playoffs, if you even finish second, you still got a chance. But I still think we're probably going to have the biggest budget in that league. Yeah. So on paper, we should have the best team. Therefore, we should get promoted. But again, it doesn't always work like that.
Nah, it doesn't. But nah, if you look at, as you said, if you look at other teams, we should be beating them. 100%.
I had a look at the fixture list as well, right? And I didn't think there was any
hard games.
No, there wasn't any great standout fixtures. Do you know
Cove? I want to go to Cove away. I think that'll be a good day out.
So that's actually the 10th of September.
Oh, is it? Day after your birthday?
That's right.
Be going to that.
I won't be going to that because I've got a gig. I'm playing a gig that night.
So you know.
So sorry.
But the Cove, that'll be a decent wee day out.
It was. Do you know what it is? It's when you look at the December fixtures, right? Ayr, Saturday the 24th of December. Why the fuck wants to go Ayr?
I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because I'm sure loads of people read that when the fixtures came out and thought, who the fuck wrote that? Honestly,
that's seriously.
Because Ayr's what, 2.5 or so. You're drinking on the bus for a good couple of hours, right? You get to Ayr, go to the match, and then you're coming home, bloated on the way home, especially if we win. And then the next day you get up and day of Christmas. No, absolutely not. But I'm probably still going to go.
Another in as well, and we've got Arbroath at home on the 2nd of January.
That'll probably get moved for TV, I would imagine.
On the 2nd of January? You think? We're going to put it on New Year's Day? Friday night?
Nah, they'll probably, I would imagine, put maybe the 4th or the 5th, whatever weekend that is.
So,
because that game would probably be on a Friday night.
You mentioned your dark horses earlier, Queen's Park. Mm-hmm. We've got them away last game of the season.
That'll be tasty.
That will be, well...
Honestly, I really think they're going to do well. I don't want them to do well, obviously, but that could be a fixture.
I'm kind of hoping that we've got it all wrapped up by then.
How many games do we play in the Championship? Is it 33?
Nah, it can't be. It'll be an even number.
Or 34, or so. It's no the full 38.
It is.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, am I just talking shite?
I think yeah.
I thought it was a lot less.
No, I don't think it is. I think it only was that one season with the COVID related issues.
Right, yeah, that's fair enough.
So, but I think we should win the league. So Gary Boyer, you got your instruction now. It's a League Cup for you last week and a league this week. We'll have something else for you next week. But don't worry, we'll no speak about the Scottish Cup next week, so you're alright.
McMullen's bits for next week. Get him a new pair of them.
I did see seen a wee photo of Gary Boyer with his South East section t-shirt.
And he suited it as well. If you actually put it on, I think he would suit it. And
Cammy had in tea. Although I wonder if his mum bought him that. She's come here, oh Cammy, I got you a t-shirt. You be out with you.
One thing that I was going to mention as well, right? So obviously, you know when Dundee are at Dens, if we're playing United or Celtic or whatever, right? The Den is usually a wee bit more bouncy and atmosphere. There's more atmosphere. I think with the South East guys, well the South East boys as well, it's going to be like that pretty much every week because they've got a drum and they're jumping about, and so if the players could feed off that every week, even when we're playing teams like Cove and Morton and all the rest of it, that will give us an extra wee bit of an advantage that could make the difference. I'm not saying the South East section are going to win with the league.
Well, you don't know, they might.
But can players feed off that sort of stuff?
They do, definitely. But then again, another thing they feed off it is the hard time that they get for Dundee fans sometimes. Because that's one of the things I remember about being at Dens when I was wee, right? Because I actually used to stand up the back of the Provy, right? Me and your granddad used to go up the back of the Provy, and there used to be this like stanchion thing that I stood on. Me and this guy Alan, we were all standing there, right? Alan, if you're listening, all right, mate. And what I used to notice about the stadium was, see, whenever anything happened, you should have seen the derry, right? There was like 1,000 people standing up and getting absolute pelters. Now it's just a wee bit, right? But honestly, it used to be the Hale Dens road end. That linesman must have got it stinking every single week. So again, while they feed off a good atmosphere, I suppose they do feed off a bad atmosphere as well.
Well, that's what they've been feeding off for the past 3-4 years. And that's how I'm quite looking forward to next season, because the games that the South East boys were getting the drum and getting the atmosphere going and stuff, but we're playing alright and we were winning and we were showing a wee bit more fight than what we had in previous games. Like for example, remember that Ross County game when we got beat like 4-0? That was the most toxic atmosphere at Dens. I left in the first half And that was in the whole team was getting it tight. Not just for me. There was wee boys in front of me shouting it. Honestly, it was that night was really bad.
I'll tell you the most toxic night I've witnessed at Dens was we actually got pumped 4-9 for the Shed, right? But I'm sure Dodesy was playing for us, and he got sent off. Billy Dodds got sent off, and I'm sure it seemed like nothing at the time. But then we didn't have cameras at the matches then, so he probably did something that deserved to get sent off. Right? But there was folk throwing bovrils and throwing their scarves away and fucking. And there's a guy who's actually a guy who was me. He threw a bottle of Coke onto the pitch. I'm sure he got done with it. Could be wrong about that. I'll not mention these names for legal reasons. But that was pretty toxic. So, but again, the guys for the southeast section, they make the atmosphere good.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a definite.
And I think the drum mic can silence, or it'll drown out some of the people shouting abuse for the day. So, on the drum.
Well, listen, we're two to talk because we're two of them that dare.
Oh, I did. I've done it for 25 years.
It doesn't mean we didn't love you guys.
Nah.
You need to be telling them again.
It's because we love you. It's because we care so much that we're shouting abuse at you.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to need to wrap up again. So thanks to everybody for listening. Thanks again to our sponsors, King Kong Tattoo Company, Albert Square, Dundee, for all your tattoo and piercing needs. Check them out. And we'll be back with another podcast again next week.
Quality.
Cheers. Goodbye.
Bye.